What the fuck was that, yo?
Top on, top on, top on.
New York City's the Brooklyn Nets lost to a depleted Portland Trailblazers, and it's kind of my role in to start things off. But I'm verklempt. I'm verklempt. I'm using Yiddish words today, Sam. I don't have words. I'm gonna let you start it off, and I'll come back.
Yeah, I mean, I thought yesterday, and the Nets have had a lot of bad moments this season, and we're about halfway through. I thought yesterday was, and still is right now, because I still feel it as if the game just ended, is the low point of the season, and I'm hoping it doesn't get lower because, I mean, they have now played horrendous basketball for about 2 to 3 weeks and have almost lost or have basically almost lost 3 times to three of the worst teams in basketball in the Pacers, the Spurs, and the Blazers without any of their basically good players playing, and they can't beat their G League teams, and that's with us always having at least two of our stars playing, and this is like this is now getting to a point that is scary because it's not like I know that people keep talking about effort and stuff like that. You can watch the game like yesterday because they played the rookies. They played guys who actually had stuff to prove. This wasn't like the Nets playing, Blake Griffin and Millsap and James Johnson and vets who just want to get to the playoffs. Like they played their rookies, they had energy, but this team is just not that good right now because it's a lot of names and I got to give you and Bam especially credit because you guys were more critical of Marks than I was, and I was on my Marks high horse. But if we're judging right now in this exact moment, Marks did not do a good job this summer. Like he didn't like the look. If you don't want to pay, if you go in order, if you don't want to pay Shamit, I get it. Like I think paying him 11 or 12 million dollars isn't good, but like if you're gonna get a pick and a player for him like I don't know what Sharp is real like I think Sharp shown something, but I don't know what he's going to be long term. I know that he's not going to help us in the playoffs necessarily. Javon Carter has been a disaster. Like Patty is in a shooting slump. I don't care. I think getting him was a great move. I'll always like that. Whatever. But like the getting Blake Griffin and Millsap and Aldridge, like Aldridge, I think has really shown something, but Blake looks completely shot. Like he was horrendous yesterday. Every time he gets the ball, he loses it or gets caught in midair because, as you aptly put it, here's a couple of years ago about DeAndre Jordan. Blake basically seems like he's out of jumps. Like he just has no lift at all. They retained Bruce Brown. He's basically out of the rotation. The Bembry signing was good, but look, the DeAndre Jordan trade where they had to offload him and offload 4 second-round picks, which would have been really helpful right now, would have been useful. And then like this Dinwiddie thing, which I was definitely in a different corner from you and from you and Bam about, and because I said like, Dinwiddie's going to be a lot of money, and like if they get back somebody, it gives a crazy luxury tax bill. And let's see what they do with the exception they got, but like it seems like that exception isn't going to be used this year. And the fact that they could have had Kuzma and Harrell or KCP or KCP and Harrell, like they need guys. Like, and this is the thing that I've kind of been saying to you now for a couple of weeks, and then I'll let you go because I've been talking for a while. Like they have like literally 8 or 9 guys that I do not trust playing in a playoff game right now. If you do Blake, Carter, Millsap, the 4 rookies, because I think relying on rookies is like just absolutely is crazy at this point. Plus Bruce Brown, that's 8 roster spots where like I do not trust those 8 guys playing real minutes in the playoffs. And I'll get into my feelings about the rookies because I think me and you were pretty aligned on that, and I really want to delve in on that because I think the Nets fan base and their take on rookies is so delusional and out of whack at this point that I think it needs to be talked about, and Nets fans need some tough love about the rookies. But Sean Marks has work to do. The trade deadline is in. I think it's a month from today or tomorrow. I think it's February 10th. There's real work that has to be done, like really, really soon.
Listen, I'm not gonna sit here and lie like I wasn't gassed about this team. I thought this team, none of the guys that they took were guys that I would have taken, or I would have even had thrown a flyer on, except for Patty Mills. And me, Patty Mills, it wasn't something that I had in mind, but Patty Mills is a winner. You know what I mean? He's not a great basketball player. He's not a super athlete. He's a good athlete. Don't get me wrong. I'm not, judging that, but he's not an off the charts athlete. Nothing stands out, but the fact that man is going to give you a basketball game, whether he's making shots or not. So I'm not gonna besmirch the name of Patty, because I think he's the best signing of the bunch.
By the way, let me just quickly project. And then I'll back up. He also, at the time, context matters with Patty, and he was also kind of seen as Joe Harris insurance after the miserable playoff performance.
Correct. But he's not Joe Harris. That, like, in a sense of, I don't know who we call the better player necessarily, because it's not like I'm saying Joe Harris is leaps and bounds ahead of him. Joe Harris could do things because he's bigger. He's not that much bigger, but he's bigger. He's a sturdier guy. He you could almost get away with him on the wing, right? But Patty is just you've seen him do it. You've seen him hit those shots in the big spot. He knows what it is. He's a champion. He came with rings. But nobody who watched Blake Griffin in the playoffs last year should have thought Blake Griffin was doing anything. It's very, like, I make jokes about it on Twitter, but it is very sad to watch a player who's an all fast twitch muscle player. Everything about Blake is about his ability to just be the very best athlete on the floor. And the version of him that we're watching, it's like if we went back in time and said, hey, could you imagine having Blake Griffin on your team? Most Nets fans would have said no, but yeah, it would be nice. But could you imagine you get Blake Griffin when he has lost all of his athleticism? Like, thinking about all of the things that make Blake Griffin, besides the fact that he's a 6'10" brute, built like a brick house, natural super athlete. You could never say, oh, Blake had an ill layup package, or Blake could pass, or damn, Blake's jumper was incredible. Blake Griffin runs and dunks. That's what he does. He doesn't do that anymore. And because he doesn't do that anymore, we're in big trouble. Because he sucks. Paul Millsap sucks. And LaMarcus Aldridge retired from the NBA because he has a serious medical condition. He has a serious medical condition that would make him at risk to get COVID. So knowing that COVID is not over, and knowing that that's a critical part of the floor, that none of the big three, what you're supposed to do when you have a big three is find the players who do what they don't do. These guys are not runners and guys who run and jump and play defense and are physical. I do not understand for the life of me how, and again, this sounds so full of shit in a sense, because I wasn't drafting Sadiq Bey. Sadiq Bey was your guy. You recognized Sadiq and was like, that dude could be somebody. So I wasn't drafting him, but it was a mistake, right? You signed Shamit knowing you weren't going to draft, you weren't going to sign, you weren't going to pay him, right? So now you trade for Shamit, you knowing you're not going to pay him, you let him walk. You trade him for a bunch of things that can't help you now. Now I thought it was genius at the time. Let's. I hope Sam that you'll keep me, because I'm angry today. I hope that you'll keep me from being a hyperbolic, full of shit podcaster. I don't want to be that. I want to really give the people who rock with us a fair and real analysis of the situation. Right? Like, can we hold each other to that?
Yep.
All right. Even if Patty Mills was a good signing, it was a signing that fixes none of your problems. And because of it, the one person that you could not lose, the one person you can't lose is KD. You lose KD, the season's over. And unfortunately, that's where this, I'm afraid that's where this is going. This experiment with these three superstars should be teaching us lessons, and nobody is getting it. I turned off my phone. I really didn't turn off my phone. What happened was my phone died in the middle of the game last night. I didn't even go unplug it because I just kept on seeing people criticizing Nash for the lineup.
Yep.
All right, so I want to do an exercise with you. Let's play the criticize Nash and figure out what the lineup should have been. All right? Sam, give me your starting five.
For yesterday's game?
For yesterday's game.
I probably would have done, Kyrie, KD, Cam Thomas, Claxton, and Bembry, maybe.
So you would have switched Cam for DDJR.
Yeah, I think DD, I think David Duke is basically, here's the issue, and I don't mean to, I'm not hijacking this game, but I just think that it just needs to explicitly be stated. This idea, and this is why the Nash thing is so totally preposterous. These two ideas that we're talking about coincide with one another. But, this idea that Nash should be playing the rookies for their development and stuff like that.
No. But you didn't hear you didn't see all the tweets from this morning, Sam? All the tweets from this morning is Nash doesn't know what he's doing. Claxton need help down low. I'm hearing some people say they should have played Blake. They should have played
The numbers for Blake yesterday when he was in the game was preposterously bad. The plus minus on that, Blake was basically unplayable yesterday. The Nets actually had to play the rookies because everyone else on that roster legitimately all the older guys, I should say, legitimately showed next to nothing besides Bembry and James Johnson, and those guys got run. But and by the way, this idea that Millsap should be playing more or something like that, if you think that a contending team should be saying Paul Millsap should be playing more, you got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
Let's call it spade a spade.
No, you have fish to fry, but you have no frying pan.
Yeah, that is a big issue. And the biggest issue, by the way, and Nets fans don't even realize this because they're, as we'll talk about with the fan base and the hive about not criticizing anyone or anything, the fact that Nash doesn't know who to put in at once legitimately has zero to do with Nash. It has to do with the fact that Kyrie's been out. It has to do with the fact that a bunch of the guys that Sean Marks signed this summer have been unplayable. It has to do with the fact that James Harden